country that worked so hard to turn into one of the most sought-after digital nomad locations has unfortunately turned into the worst countries to visit in 2022. Sri Lanka defaults on debt for the first time in history. The country is going through an immense gasoline and food crisis at the moment. And I also wanted to talk with you about the digital nomad situation, COVID restrictions, and visa situation in the country. I wanted to send my prayers to the people of Sri Lanka because I can only imagine what it must feel like to be in a situation where you ran out of food and gasoline. There's really not much worse. I mean, the situation that we're seeing in Ukraine is certainly worse, but what we're seeing in Sri Lanka is definitely a situation that needs some empathy. And I wanted to talk about this here for a moment before we talk about the digital nomad situation in the country. The current food crisis that we're seeing in Sri Lanka was really driven by the president's decision to make Sri Lanka the first country to adopt organic agriculture. They took an immense step, which was to ban synthetic agrochemicals, which unfortunately had a really negative impact on Sri Lanka's food security. The country's aim was to improve soil health and tackle a kidney disease that has been causing so much damage to the people of Sri Lanka. Due to the ban of synthetic agrochemicals, the country witnessed a real shortage of food, which is ongoing. The agricultural output that Sri Lanka is going through right now is just never enough to supply enough food for its own citizens. And with all the financial problems, including lack of foreign currency holdings, Sri Lanka is really struggling to get gasoline into the country. While the government of Sri Lanka is certainly working to resolve the situation, there is more and more desperation seen in the streets of Colombo and pretty much anywhere across the country because people lack the basic necessities for life, and that is a very tough pill to swallow in my opinion, and I really hope that things improve sooner rather than later. But now I wanted to talk about something more positive, which is the digital nomad situation in Sri Lanka. If you guys have been to Sri Lanka, you're pretty much aware of what a great country it truly is. It really checks most of the boxes, and I can totally understand why so many digital nomads are absolutely drawn to this country, even though right now with the current situation, with the current problems that the country is having, I understand that digital nomads aren't as inclined to go there as they were pre-pandemic, but the country has really done a good job in terms of attracting digital nomads, creating a foundation that is conducive to attracting remote workers, such as, a very liberal visa system, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. If you take a look at where it's located, it's in South Asia, and if you want to get to Thailand, it's just a, I believe a 3.5 hour to 4 hour flight, depending on the airline, of course. And if you want to get to like Malaysia, Singapore, it's just about 3.5 to 4 hours as well. You want to fly to Vietnam, it's a 5 hour flight. You want to go to China, we're talking 5 to 7 hours. So the location is pretty good. What digital nomads really appreciate about living in Sri Lanka is the ultra low cost of living. If you want to get a studio or 1-bedroom apartment in Colombo, which is the capital of Sri Lanka, you can expect to find deals for as little as $250 to $300 a month. And we're talking about a fully furnished apartment. And I think this is a really attractive deal because, if you just pay like $250 to $300 in rent every month, it pretty much means that you can live on less than $1,000 a month. So for a foreigner, for a digital nomad to come to Colombo and, have the opportunity to rent something for as little as $250 to $300 a month, and we're talking a fully furnished apartment, I think that's a really good deal. And food prices have been low, for the most part, except for the current situation that the country is in. You could go out, you could have a meal for as little as $1.50 to $2. And I think that's what digital nomads want. They want the ultra low cost of living. They want to be able to work remotely. And it's perfect for people that want to be outside all year long, wearing a shirt, running around in shorts. There's nothing better than that. And I think if we take a look at the visa situation, you can easily get a 30 to 90 day extension if you are from any Western country. We're talking the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, France, Spain, Germany, Italy, Austria, Australia, New Zealand, from any Western country. You can go there and you can get extensions very easily. And I think people really appreciate that. 180 to 270 day extension just costs you roughly $200. And what that tells you is that to live in the country for 6 to 9 months, you're looking at just $200 in government fees and, probably going to be $250 to $300 a year, something that was pre-pandemic very possible in a place like Vietnam. Foreigners no longer have the opportunity, the possibility to extend their visa beyond the 30 days. Unless they want to do the, exit version, the 30-day exit stamp version where they have to pay like a lot. I think it's $200, $250. You may be banned from re-entering Vietnam in the future. And I think digital nomads don't want to take that risk. They don't want to burn any bridges. And Sri Lanka is one of these places that still offers a very flexible, very liberal visa policy. While we don't know what the future holds, digital nomads are after this type of setup because they don't want to have to do any long-term commitments. They want to be location independent. They want to be flexible unless they made a good amount of money in business. Let's say they're 6-figure and 7-figure earners. They may have the financial capability, to, spend some money, to invest in the property or make a donation to the government like it is necessary in Thailand to obtain a Thai elite visa, for them to get a visa that's, good for a couple of years, maybe even 20 years. But unless people have made significant progress in business, which certainly isn't the case for like a regular worker, somebody who works at customer support, somebody who's like a graphic designer, we're talking about people that are maybe English teachers, they hadn't really had an opportunity to make significant money. So for them to be able to afford something like a Thai elite visa or, to go to Vietnam, incorporate a company, sponsor themselves, isn't really very realistic, so to speak. I wanted to touch upon the COVID situation in Sri Lanka. I'm well aware that because of the current economic challenges the country is going through, chances are you're not going there anytime soon, but I still wanted to fill you in on what the current COVID entry requirements are. If you're fully vaccinated, Sri Lanka no longer requires you to do a pre-departure test. It just shows you proof of vaccination, and that will get you admission into the country. In case you had recovered from COVID and are able to prove it, you're also able to enter the country with proof of recovery and a doctor's declaration stating that you recovered and currently don't have COVID. So that's a way for the unvaccinated to go to Sri Lanka. And in case you're not vaccinated, have no proof of recovery, you can still visit Sri Lanka, assuming you're willing to take a test prior to departure. Can be a PCR test, antigen test, gotta be negative, that you bring with you, and that would get you into the country as well. So when the digital nomads were looking to make Sri Lanka their main base in Southeast Asia, allowing them to travel to nearby countries and live the ultra low cost digital nomad life that everyone's talking about. While Sri Lanka is going through great economic challenges at this moment in time, I do believe that the people of Sri Lanka have the strength to overcome these challenges, and that sooner rather than later we're going to see a recovered and a stronger Sri Lanka than we ever saw before. Is Sri Lanka a country that you would consider as your next digital nomad location? Have you visited Sri Lanka? Have you spent time in the country? If so, leave a comment below and let us know. Subscribe now and turn on alerts to never miss any of my future nomadism, dating, and business advice videos. I highly recommend that you grab a free copy of my latest ebook, The Nomad Elite Income Booster, your go-to guide for creating passive income streams using the internet. All you need to do is click on the link below the video. And if you got some more time left, check out these videos. Thank you for watching.